Hello everyone and welcome to Magic Gathering Strat. I'm Binkabi and this will be a go through of all the spoils so far, or rather the ones that I find most interesting. Let me just get this out of the way before we start. I've picked a few cards that I like and a few cards that shows off the mechanics, the new mechanics. So that's why I've chosen the cards, and I don't think I chose any of the big dragons, and the reason for that is very few of them will see constructed play. You don't have to be a genius to realize that like a flying 6/4 that can't die for 6 mana is a bomb in limited. You have to have played like 0 drafts or 0 seals to realize that. But they're very expensive, even for standard constructed. 1 or 2 of them will probably see play, probably as a 1 or 2 off somewhere, but for the most part they will not see constructed play, I don't think. So that's why I'm not going to talk about them. They're too expensive and too easy to kill and so forth. It's not like Polukranos, which only costs 4 mana and is often bigger than the dragons. But anyway, let's get the show going. The first one is CDC Undead Vizier, and it's a pretty large dude for 5 mana, 4/6 with Death Touch. So either it holds the fort, attacks pretty well, or trades with their biggest creature. But it also has Exploit, and that's why I've chosen the card to begin with. Exploit says when this creature enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. So you can sacrifice him too if you want to. And when CDC Undead Vizier exploits a creature, you may search a library for a card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. So you get to tutor up any card. Is that worth a creature? Probably. Especially in limited, I can see this being really good. You're curving out like 2, 3, 4, 5 in the best of worlds, but your 2-drop is probably outclassed by now. So you sacrifice that stupid 2/1 or whatever, and you get your best card instead. That's pretty nice. If it would have said you have to sacrifice, then the card would have been complete trash. Well, not complete trash, but not being able to choose if you want to do it or not would be a huge downfall from where the card stands now. So it's a pretty good card, I think, and a pretty good mechanic overall. You have to use 1 resource to gain something else, and having more options is always good. A 4/6 Death Touch for 5 is already playable. So let's move on, shall we? Stratus Dancer. So when I first saw that black dragon with Megamorph, I just laughed because there was no way Megamorph would be a thing. It's so bland and just bad design overall, and it's boring, and I don't like Megamorph at all. I don't see why this was a mechanic the game needed. I get the idea that, yeah, we had Morph in this timeline and now we have changed it, and now we have Megamorph because they have perfected art more or something like that. But really, we need a mechanic. Yeah, take Morph and slap a +1/+1 counter on it and call it Megamorph. Yeah. Very, very good for you. The only thing that's good about the name is that I instantly think about Power Rangers and start to sing their theme song, and then that makes me in a good mood, so I guess they got me there. Anyway, Stratus Dancer is a fantastic card. There is no downside to this card at all, I don't think. If you just ignore all the text here, you have a 2/1 flyer for 2. That's good. That's not really constructed, but it could be, actually. Depends on the metagame, but it could be. But we have more. We also have Megamorph. So For 3 mana you get a 2/2, and for 2 more mana you get to flip it up to get a 3/2 flying. Still don't think that's enough for constructed, but we have another row of text. When Stratus stands his turn faced up, counter target instant or sorcerer spell. Now it's worth it. This card is really good, and I think it's a card I will be playing in standard. Just because it's good against almost any deck. In a control mirror you get to like, oh, you're playing a dig through time, well for 2 mana I get to counter that and you can't do anything about it. It's a triggered ability, so it just happens. And oh right, I have basically a Delver of Secrets left, which is a very fast clock, so good luck with that. If you're playing against something more aggressive, it's like, oh, you're gonna stoke me? Well, no, I don't think so. It's a very good card, and I think I will be playing it. It's also a good combo with another card on the list further down here, so we'll keep that in mind. But I like this card, but I don't like Megamorph. I think it's an unnecessary, mindless, boring, lazy ability. I mean, what are we gonna get next? Like Ultra Ferocious? Oh right, we already have that. We'll be talking about that soon. Or let's say Super Battalion or whatever. It's like slap something on before the actual word and we have something new. No, that's not how it works. I hope this is a one-time thing. Alright, rant over. Let's continue. When you're speaking of it, here is Ultra Ferocious. Formidable, power 8. Sounds familiar? Well, Ferocious, power 4. So I was not joking actually. This card makes me really shiver in fear. Shaman of the Forgotten Ways, a 2/3 for 3. Already decent there for limited purposes. Not constructed viable at all. But it has another ability. Add 2 mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. Well, now it's already a constructed playable. You go like turn 1 Elf, turn 2 Shaman of the Forgotten Ways, turn 3 Titan or Wormcoil or Dragon or whatever. So it's already constructed playable for standard and maybe even modern. I mean, it's a lot of mana, and it does die to Lightning Bolt, but yeah. But it has Formidable, which is double Ferocious basically, for 11 mana and tap, so it's pretty expensive. But there are ways to get that amount of mana pretty easily, and the effect is certainly worth it. Each player's life total becomes the number of creatures he or she controls. Activate this ability only if creatures you control have total power 8 or greater. So the first thing is that you can't activate it and kill yourself unless the opponent has a few removal spells, a lot of them actually. So you can't do it and oops, I died. But it just kills every control deck ever. In the best of worlds, you might have one creature, a Snapcaster Mage or something, and then your life total becomes 1. Then you're pretty dead. You're dead to Hornet Sting and Gut Shot. You're just dead. Just straight up dead. And yes, 11 mana is a lot, but you have ways even in standard to get that amount pretty easily. Nykthos, for example. I just think this card is great overall. I like the mana dorks that has utility later in the game. This is very late, but it's also a very good ability. Granted that it will be hard to have 8 power against a control deck, of course, but sometimes that just happens, and then the ability is a bonus. But I think this card will see standard play, probably not modern or legacy, but standard for sure. Profound Journey. I chose this card to show off that Rebound is indeed coming back, and that makes me take a few jumps of joy. Rebound is at least in my opinion, a control mechanic. You get so much value out of it, like Stagger Shock, for example, fantastic card. I'm jamming it in a lot of decks these days. Kill your guy, my turn, kill your guy again, fantastic. This card, if we're just talking about the card, 7 mana sorcery to return a permanent from your graveyard to the battlefield. We already have that in Obsidat's, what was it called? Obsidat's Aid, I think. For 3 colorless black-white, you get to do this. It could be non-land permanent maybe, but it would be sad if you took a land for 7 mana. But 7 mana is a lot, so it has to be pretty good. But it also have rebound, so if this was an instant, I would probably play one of them in my control decks. Just to be able to, like, end of turn return a Worm Coil or I don't know, a Sun Titan and go off, and then untap and do it again. That would have been pretty sweet. Now, as a sorcery, you have to, like, I mean, it's not horrible, and it's not hard to imagine a scenario where you go like, turn 8, Ugin, minus it a lot, they kill it, untap, Profound Journey, Ugin, minus it again, say go. Now they can't kill it because you get it back, but you can't let it stay in play because, oh, let's say where there. So I think it could be a one-off in the control decks. Maybe it depends on the version of the deck, obviously. If it doesn't have many permanents, then it's pretty bad. It's also pretty good assurance against Thoughtseize, which is, I've played games with the blue-black control deck where I have to scoop on turn 3 because they Thoughtseize the Pearl Lake Ancient, then I drew another one and they Thoughtseize that one too, and then I can't win anymore because all my win conditions is in the graveyard. Pretty rare, but having this as a utility tool could be worth it. But yeah, rebound is coming back, a fantastic mechanic, I like it a lot, so hopefully we will get more rebound. Like, I don't know that, but alright, let's continue. Aven Sunstriker. I think it's a pretty mediocre card overall. Either you get a 1/1 flying double strike for 3, or you get basically a 2/2 flying double strike for a total of 5 mana or 8 mana. This is another Megamorph card, that's why I chose this. I think it's okay, and the only thing that makes it okay is that I think it's probably worth just play it on turn 3 as it is, and then bolster or equip it with something. Everything with double strike in limited is usually pretty lethal, and flying helps a lot. Flying is good, or at least it was good in Cons limited. Now with Fate Dragons we will see, but I think it's decent. And just bolster something on it, or I mean, I could imagine playing this saying go, they play something, you untap, attack, what are they gonna do? Block it? Alright, you block it with your like 2/2 flyer or 3/3 flyer. Yeah, I'm gonna play that, gain 4 life, bolster 2, and this is for sure my target, and yeah, your guy died, and I gain 4 life and have the biggest flyer. So it's probably a decent limited card. It will never see constructed play though. 2 cards left, 2 fantastic cards. I'm almost crying because they're so good. Oyutai's Command. So if you ignore the mana cost and the text box, I was like, a command? Rare? Could it be something good? Then I checked the mana cost and I was like, well, it's the correct cost for a command, or a reasonable cost. It could easily be like 2 white white blue blue or something, but this is a constructed mana cost, constructed play friendly mana cost. Okay, and it's instant, of course, nice. And then we have the first row, and already here I was sold. Choose 2. Okay. Return target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It just screams Snapcaster Mage. I just can't see a better target for this than that, but really any of the really good 2 mana Mega Cycle dudes would be nice, like Stoneforge, Goyf, Young Pyromancer, Snapcaster and Dark Confidant. All of those would be reasonable to return. And even in standard, that Megamorph dude makes this card more it increases the card chances to go into a control deck. I mean, you play 2 or 3 of those Megamorph dudes, a couple of those, and sometimes, well, you just have to do something to, maybe you need a land or something. Well, end of turn you draw a card. You can't counter anything, gaining 4 is probably not worth it. Well, then return that Megamorph dude and start attacking or something. But yeah, so the first one is a pretty good ability overall. Gaining 4 life is not worth 4 mana, but I mean, sometimes just having the option of gaining a few life is really nice. Oh, you're stoking me? Well, then I'm gonna draw a card and counter your stoke, basically. Then it's a cryptic command. Oh, you're gonna play Stormbreath Dragon? Well, counter draw. Then it's also a cryptic command. And everything close to a cryptic command is extremely good. Yeah, so counter a creature spell and drawing a card is the last modes on this card, and overall with 4 decent modes, I just can't see this not being played in standard. It could be like a 1 or 2 off in modern. I don't think it will go into legacy, but it actually has some potential, I think. I'm not a legacy player, but if this was counter target spell, I think it would have a chance as a one-off. Now probably not. But yeah, returning a Stoneforge would be pretty nice. So yeah, this card makes me really excited for standard. I can see playing straight blue-white control, Esper control. I'm probably more inclined to do one of those than blue-white-red control, just because the red has some good things going, like the burn spells and such, but I'm not certain about that. Maybe I will try it out. I'll probably just play it on Magic Online though, and not in real life, unfortunately. But yeah, the last card I want to talk about got spoiled, I think, tonight, and yeah, I'm just wow. I'm so excited about this card. Norset Transcendent. Holy crap. I'm not joking here. I think this card could see play in older formats than standard for sure. So we have the first Narset Planeswalker. 6 loyalty for 4 mana. That is fantastic. An extremely good rate. They're comparing with Venser here down here, 5 mana for 3, although it has +2, but still not even comparable loyalty wise. But we all know that that's not all. It has to have something more, good abilities. +1, look at the top card of your library. If it's a non-creature, non-land card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. So just like the creature Narset, this rewards you for playing no creatures. And I could see this in a control deck. You probably have like 26, 27 lands and 33 spells, no creatures. Then you will hit above 50%, and drawing a card each other turn is pretty good. You will have time to do that anyway, so it could and should probably reward you the first +1, and then it might miss, and then it might hit, and so forth. There is a few ways you can arrange the top cards of your library. In standard I don't think there is that many now, but in modern there is at least. And I'm sure this could see modern play because of the second ability mainly. -2, so it will still have 4 loyalty left pretty much, but alright. When you cast your next instant or sorcerer spell from your hand this turn, it gains rebound. I'm not sure what to say about this. Let's say we're playing blue-white X mid-range or something. We don't have to go with control. You're playing a mid-range deck, like the Yeske Burn deck or something. You have maybe a Goblin Rabble Master in play, and they probably don't have anything. And you go to combat and they kill your Rabble Master. That's usually what happens. Second main phase, you play Narset, plus it, and say go. Maybe you drew a card, maybe not. Now they will have 4 mana to deal with Narset, and I don't think there is any combination of cards in the set that can kill it besides just straight up Hero's Downfall. Yeah, it's the black-white one, Utter End. So there's like 2 cards, both in black, that could take this down immediately. But we're assuming that they can't, because that's pretty far-fetched. So they can't kill us. They can maybe shoot it down a bit or something, but probably they're gonna play a big creature if they can. Our turn. -2. Dig Through Time. Treasure Cruise. Just those 2 cards alone that actually is in blue. That's some value right there, I have to say. Yeah, I'm gonna draw 3 cards. Go. Oh, you killed Narset. Oh, boohoo. I'm gonna draw 3 more cards. 6 cards. Maybe 7 for 1. And a couple of life in the process. I just can't see that game going poorly for you. It's really hard to imagine that. And just something like, yeah, I'm gonna rebound my Yeske Charm, or Stoke the Flames, or something more expensive maybe, or something cheaper. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything expensive. You can play it on turn 5 and rebound a Wild Slash. Not that I think that would be fantastic, but in a perfect world, if you have gone like fetch lands and maybe something, you could play this on turn 5, use the last mana to play a Treasure Cruise, and -2. So that's also very possible, but that's more of a dream scenario. So what keeps this card from being a slam dunk? We haven't talked about the ultimate yet, I know, but it's the fact that it's pretty poor when you're behind. Let's say they have 1 or 2 creatures and you don't have anything, and you untap and the only thing you can play is this. Well, it's not guaranteed to draw anything. The -2 is worthless if you can't play something else, and the ultimate is not in range. Then it's pretty bad compared to another planeswalker like Jace, Architect of Thought. If you're a bit behind, you can play him and dig for cards, or maybe shut down a great portion of their attack force with the plus ability. So this demands you to have control, but if you have, this should put you so far ahead that you win the game, and that's good enough for me. I won't play 4 of those, but I can see playing 2, maybe 3, it depends on the deck and what more cards get spoiled. The ultimate, really quick, it's pretty straightforward. -9, takes a few turns to get there, but your opponent can't cast non-creature spells. So that makes this one fantastic in the mirror. They have to kill it, and if you're not playing black, there is not that many cards that kills Narset. Banishing Light takes it, but you could probably get around that, and that's basically it. I mean, Ugin kills it and so forth, but if you can't kill it in a control mirror and your opponent gets to ultimate, then you can scoop. You can't win that game. Even if you manage to get to like a gazillion mana and play a Perlic Ancient, there is no way you can fight. You will lose the game. I'm sorry, but you will. In a more aggressive matchup, I think the ultimate is pretty useless. I mean against the burn deck it's pretty decent, and it does shut down like Whip and the Sieges and other planeswalkers. So that's a thing too, I guess. I mean, if you get to ultimate this on an empty board with a couple of removal spells in hand, you should win the game. And since you're playing white, at least you should have a sweeper and something else. But yeah, Narset makes my heart tick a bit faster, and I think it will be a pretty great deal in Standard actually. I will certainly play it as much as I can, and maybe I will go so far as trying to resurrect the Standard community in the town I live, just to be able to play this in real life. We will see. Alright, that was all the cards that I have for you today. As I said, the dragons are not really something I would like to talk about. You can see here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, there's so many big dragons that it's hard to just pick one. And really quick, let's just take one. Let's say the red-black one. 5 mana for a 5/4 flying. Pretty decent. Dice to stoke the flames, but whatever. Limited a bomb already here. Constructed, it's too expensive, doesn't do anything. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +2/+0 until the end of turn. Pretty decent, but if you have this in play, untapped, and get to play another creature, then you're probably winning anyway, if you can connect with it. So don't think it's worth anything. The only dragon so far that I really like is the blue-black one. 3/5 flying death touch for 6. Pretty small dragon, but it has the Sour of Temptation text, plus it can take planeswalkers, so it's pretty hard to kill. It survives most removal spells, burn-based removal spells, and blocks pretty well and takes something. So it could be. I mean, all of those is strong enough to see constructed play, but I don't think there is one in particular that I can point at and say this one. This is the dragon. Probably the 4 mana dragon, if that's the case. 4 mana fly, 4/4 flying. That bolts up something that bolts the player if they target this with anything. So, but I don't think there's one that I could just say this one is the dragon. Maybe there will be one, maybe not. We will see. Time to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this little session, and please write us some comments, not just for me but for the other viewers, so we can discuss the cards. Maybe I've overseen something with Narset. I did that with Manifest, for example. I thought you could flip up spells too for a while, and I was really high on Manifest until I realized that no, that's not the case. So maybe I missed something, overlooked something. Maybe you think that one of the dragons is for sure a constructed bomb or whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll bring you more videos as soon as I can.